Hey, it's Ethan here at etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4-bike rack and how it fits on our 2023 GMC Yukon XL. It is a 4-bike platform style bike rack capable of supporting 35 pounds per bike. We're going to hold onto our bikes primarily by these rotating padded clamps on the center mast and 2 straps down at the bottom. Because it does use these padded clamps on the frame, you're not going to want to use this bike rack with something like a carbon frame bike because it could potentially take some damage to the frame while you're driving. It should work okay for most alternative frame bikes, but you might have to get a little bit creative. One thing that does take away from this bike rack a little bit is that it doesn't have the ability to tilt away with the bikes loaded. So if we want to get in the back of our vehicle, we're going to have to take the bike off first. We can start that just by getting these straps undone. So if you press this gray release, it releases the straps. As you can see, they do have this rubber here that's going to protect your tire, which is a nice little feature. We can get our back strap. Now we want to hold on to the bike. Try to get that front tire too, because with the Destination it does have the tendency to rotate a little bit, but I still want to let you see where I'm going here. So holding on to the frame of the bike itself, we'll release this strap from the center mast. Once we do that, we can get the bike up and over and away. Now the center mast is still in the way, so let's get that folded down, starting by undoing this hand knob here at the bottom. Just unthread that until this catch plate releases. Slide that out of the way, and we could slide the center mast down. The cradles do tend to get in the way a little bit, so you might have to adjust those if you need to. We'll put this one actually in front of that bar here so that we can get it all the way down. And then we can use this other cradle strap to actually secure the center mast in place so it won't be shaking around as much while we're driving. From here we can open up the back of our car, and we have plenty of room to do it now that everything is out of the way. And we have plenty of space back here if we wanted to sit down, change our shoes, do whatever we need to do, get helmets, anything we need out of the back. And we have plenty of clearance on both the hatch and from the back. While I replace this back strap, just wanted to point out a couple more things about the actual rack itself. So as you can see, it does angle down on both sides. It lets you accommodate a wheelbase of up to 48 inches, and the cradles themselves support a tire width of up to 3 inches. But it is a pretty bulky bike rack, and it does add quite a bit of distance to the back of the vehicle. I wanted to measure from the bumper to the furthest point back so you get an idea of how far it is. It's about 39.5 inches added on, so that's going to be quite a bit of space. And because it does have this angle down on the side, our ground clearance is going to be adjusted to the point on the end. So the closest end, you have 26 inches. At the highest point you're going to need to get a bike, it is 29 inches. Now the weight capacity is only 35 pounds per bike, so you're not lifting anything huge on there. So that's not something I'm terribly worried about. If we want to, we can fold the bike rack up to save some space. So if we remove this clip from the end and unthread this hand knob, we can do that pretty simply. Fold it up, and we'll have to come back down here to replace this. I like to just have it partially in so that when it finds it, you're in there, rethread it, and replace the clip. From this point, we can grab that new measurement to see how much space we're saving. So now from the bumper to the furthest point back, it's just over 13 inches. So we save almost a third or 2/3 of the space that we had originally. It sits a little bit close, but not terribly so. Closest point will probably be the center mast unless we can get it further down. In our case, we still have about 3 inches from the bumper to that point, so I'm not going to be worried about it making contact there either. As you can see, if you were to live with it in this position, it is really large and it will block some things on the back of your vehicle. Your license plate from the straight on might be a little tough to see, but from the sides you still have quite a few angles where I can see it pretty well. Same with the backup camera. The direct middle might be a little bit obstructed, but I think you'll still be able to see a lot out of there. Your taillights are fully visible, and it doesn't actually cover up that much of the rear window of your car either. This rack has a 2-inch shank that fits into our 2-inch receiver tube. It's held in place by this anti-rattle bolt and the lock on the end. Overall, I think the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 bike rack is a really solid entry-level way to get 4 bikes up to 35 pounds where you need them to go. If you do have 4 bikes, a lot of the time you might have some kids' bikes going with you, so we always try to recommend something like the Kurt Premium. It's a hanging style rack, so it's still going to make that frame contact. You get a little bit more weight capacity at 180 pounds total, and it tapers at the end to support those kid bikes. That being said, the Hollywood Rack's destination is a really solid option and a really good fit overall for the 2023 GMC Yukon XL.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First we'll start with the slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.